Welcome to the Produce Industry Podcast, your weekly download on current events, trends, market reports, and community discussions. Join us each week from Tampa, Florida, as we cover all aspects of the produce supply chain industry. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, my boy, the voice of the produce industry, Patrick Kelly.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kelly, also known as Lil Citrus, coming to you live from Tampa, Florida. That is right, here at the Ag Life Media Studios. And I've said it over and over again. If you actually look up the exact town where we're in, it is the West Chase Citrus Park area. Everyone, that's right. Gotta keep it all things citrus. And today, we actually have a little bit of a citrus episode for you. We have generations of citrus right here in the studio today, and I'm pretty excited. Now, the first guest I'm going to bring on, they've been in the other podcast studio, and then the second one, this is their first time in the podcast studio, but also first time here for both of them in Ag Life Media Studio. So we'll talk about that. But a couple announcements before we get started. April is a super busy month. We have just right at the beginning of the month, CPMA up in Montreal, Canada. And then in that same week, we have the Viva Fresh Showcase in Houston, Texas. And then a couple weeks after that, we'll be at the ROFDA conference. Now, that is an invite-only conference. Look it up, ROFDA. ROFDA. And it's a cool conference with retailers and a lot of different, I would say, organizations that meet and do strategy in the retail, not just produce, but in the entire retail store. So a really cool conference that we are going to go to. And then it becomes May, but I will not go that far for you just yet, everyone. I want to bring on my first guest before our second guest, because now we have three people in the studio right now. Just for the fact is, he's been on the podcast before. So let's go ahead and welcome our featured guest, Quentin Roe. Quentin.
Patrick, good to be on the show again.
How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. This is a neat treat. I love your new digs.
What do you think? I'm still trying to get the camera angles right, as you can tell, but yeah, what do you think? Not bad, huh?
Not bad at all. I love the soundproofing.
It's better than the other location, right?
Yes. You get big cred.
It's taken a while, and I'm glad that you were able to come to the studio today. And like I said, we're going to talk about generations of citrus here today, and that's one thing that I've been in the field with you, right? I've been in the field with your son as well. And obviously, there's ways that the business has been ran for probably, over 100 years, right? And you have talked about passing that torch over the last couple of years that I've known you. And this last year, that started to happen, right? So your kids are starting to take over the Noble brand, the Noble citrus, that juicy crunch that everybody knows, right? It's the transition has started, right? So it's cool to see that in real life too, because that's one thing that's so hard to do, right? And it's pretty cool to see that in real life. So that's awesome. And welcome to the studio. Yeah. So I love that you're here, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that generational thing. I go back 45 years and I was doing this to my dad, right? And Dad, it's time for you to go play golf or do something. And here I am 45 years later, and I'm going, but what do you mean it's my turn? Wait a minute. I know a lot of stuff now. I want to go back 20 years and practice.
Oh man.
And no, you can't turn that clock back. So we're very excited to have Adam and a couple cousins in the business that
very cool
are driving things forward right now.
Oh, very nice. It's very nice. And I know that, again, we've talked many times, and, I've seen the operations. There's new aspects of the operations that have started, right? Noble is going global, which we're going to talk about more once we get Adam on. And technically you guys already have gone a little bit global between exports, right? And then now some other items that you guys are doing for imports as well. So I say let's go ahead and we'll cut to our first break. And then when we get back, we'll have Adam Roe, which is Quentin's son, come on with us. So we'll be right back.
120 years ago, in Groningen, the Netherlands, a small produce business began, trading fresh local fruits. By the 1930s, the Vandenberg family moved to Rotterdam, Europe's burgeoning fruit hub. But when the 1940s brought turmoil, they fled to America, rebuilding their legacy in fresh produce. In 1958, Jack Vandenberg became a trailblazer, importing fresh Chilean fruit to the US, opening doors to global flavors. Today, that spirit of growth and innovation continues, with sustainable packaging, carbon footprint tracking, and the finest fruit varieties. We're redefining freshness for the future. Family, fresh, innovation, celebrating a legacy 120 years in the making. This is Jack Vandenberg.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. It's always great to hear from Dynamite sponsors creating dynamite content for the produce and supply chain industry. Now, everyone, you already saw our first guest, who is Quentin Roe, and now we are going to bring both of them on. We have Adam and Quentin. So obviously, here's my man, Quentin, back to the show. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
And let's go ahead and bring Adam on. There he is.
Hey, thanks, Pat.
The next generation of Rose is here. How do you feel?
Is that a loaded question?
Yeah, that was fully loaded, man. How do you feel? Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming.
It's a sweet studio. You did a great job.
Listen, thank you. You know, the late Neil Galarte, which was my editor. He helped with all of this, and you know, the day before he died, I actually just sent pictures to him.
Really?
I have all of it, like everything set up except for the TV monitor. And he was like, see you next Monday, right? And I was like, man, yeah, like he didn't even get to see all of this, and that's what's so crazy about it.
I'm sure he's looking down proud, man. You did a great job with it.
A
It's
lot
very
of it,
cool.
yeah. And now it's like listen, he was supposed to come do the cameras. You can tell I got webcams. I was like, I'm still like learning, man. I'm still learning a lot of this, but
You did a great job.
I know. And Q, you know, you've been to the other. I would say office it was. I mean, I think it was the size of this podcast studio room, right?
Yeah, it was small.
It was, but it worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, my kids love this a little bit better too. They're like, this is way better. Ty comes in here, turns all the lights off, turns the mixer on, and it's like, it's a game changer.
So
right?
is the next generational podcast gonna be a Kelly family podcast?
Oh, listen, I think if there's another podcast in our future for the Kellys, it's probably some type of equestrian podcast. So
Ooh.
Lily is a huge like into horses. So
Really?
she rides already too. My 9-year-old, she rides. So,
Oh, my 9-year-old's riding.
yeah.
Oh, we got to do a horse thing now.
Oh my goodness, dude! Like, yeah, it's cool. I like it. Like, I like it. She's tacking the horses. She's doing it all right now.
Wow.
Like, she's doing she's gonna try and do competition. So
Very cool.
we will see what happens. But yeah. So before you came on, you heard kind of your dad and I talking already, and we talked about like the next generation of Rose, and obviously you and I have already started, you know, dealing and doing business together, and we've seen, as we've talked many times, like there has been changes, right, in all the structures and everything that's going on, but things haven't completely changed, right? But where do you know, I said this is a fully loaded queue, right? Like, how do you feel about the transition of you know, being, you know, you're the next generation being leaders of the Noble brand, you know?
You know, that's super interesting because like getting the opportunity to work with my dad every day is, you know, one of the funnest parts of my job. I enjoy that collaboration. I think it's an opportunity not a lot of people get. And so, you know, it's like anytime you tell people you work in a family business, they're going to laugh, right? Because
100%.
they know that has dynamics to it. So,
Oh, they 100% know.
Once we get past that initial joke, I mean, like, it's kind of like, for me, I'm like, all jokes aside, like, I do enjoy working with my dad.
Hey,
like,
look at that, Q. Yeah, you heard it. We get it.
Oh,
Hey, don't worry about that.
If Neil was here, that wouldn't happen.
That would never have happened.
Never.
Wow.
You know what's funny is I used to say this at the beginning of when I started the show. I would say, don't worry, everyone. I always drop something on the show. I always, like, whether I had an orange in my hand, it didn't matter what I had, I would drop something on the show every single time. So you can't see it, but something dropped on the show.
And now it's done. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the show.
We are done, everyone.
It's down.
Listen, and nothing turned off.
That's a feat.
Listen, so that in itself deserves very
there we
good round
go.
of applause for everybody today. Listen, here, everyone. Thank you. We drop stuff here at the Produce Industry Show. Listen, so the next generation, Q, obviously, you are working on a lot of different things, right? And one of the cool things, we have in studio even today, pass these around, right? Is everyone, like, you cannot find this right now. Like, this is this piece of fruit. These last like three are the last of the Juicy Crunch tangerines. But Q, as I'm going to peel this open though, talk about, like I said, the old generation before you, 40 years of breeding, but yet before that it was just Florida citrus, right? Like, talk about that a little bit, and then how this thing, became. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell a little story real quick, because I've been reading this super cool history of the oil and essence business in Florida, but they have to start with the whole citrus industry, how it started, what was going on, and it's all factual. I mean, there's like footnotes, hundreds and hundreds of footnotes, but it was a fresh fruit industry all the way up until concentrate really started. And that was the beginning of concentrate, was really World War II, because they finally figured out how to do concentrate so they could send it to the troops. And you had these huge government contracts that really pushed growers, plant. And it went from being juice and oils, a byproduct of the fresh fruit industry, to growers actually growing for the process industry. That was right around 1950, okay, 48, 49, 50. What's cool about that is my grandfather was here when it was 100% fresh fruit. When my father and uncle got out of World War II, they're right into that. Growers are now actually planting grow to be part of the concentrate business. That's heresy for an industry that had been fresh fruit up to that point, and all that other stuff was just byproduct. From there forward, all through my father and uncle's generation, second generation, it was fresh fruit sliding down as a percentage of the total industry compared to the process industry. And that did nothing but accelerate all the way through my generation. So by the time I came along, fresh fruit was considered 10% of the Florida citrus industry. And that's the way it's been my entire life until pretty recently. And so from my father and grandfather's generation, that whole fresh fruit thing moving into processed, and you're going from being the big dog in fresh fruit to being just the tail on the dog next. So yeah, that was interesting. And I say all that to say Adam's come up in a completely different environment, an environment that's been ridiculously challenging for the process industry. And for us in the fresh fruit industry, all of a sudden it's our day to shine. And this Juicy Crunch is the key to shine.
Yeah, I think so. I think it shines pretty darn well, I would say. And if you haven't, this is what the internal of the Juicy Crunch looks like. And I actually just popped this, I was eating while you were on. So,
I can smell it. It's absolutely delicious. When you smell it.
It's a citrus delight, everyone. And listen, you guys came into the office. And I kind of changed the whole citrus office theme to citrus. Did you notice that, Q? Like the last office didn't look like this.
No.
So
very cool.
We are a citrus themed office now. Adam, I mean, you know this too. I mean, there's so many complications within the supply chain. And one thing that you started over the last couple of years was importing. Obviously, you're working with growers that see the same complemented value as you guys do as growers. So supplying to be in the noble brand, right? To be in that noble category, you want growers to see the exact same vision as you guys see and your family's heritage, right? So, and that's created a new part of the business, right?
100%.
Talk a little bit about your import business and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, bred out of necessity, really. I mean, we weren't by any means the first to enter the import game. We were probably kind of late to it, but I think I personally had to kind of wrap my head around this novelty idea of wanting Florida citrus to be anything and everything, and realizing that there is wonderful, amazing fruit being grown all over the world, and we need to wonderful citrus being grown all over the world, and we need to embrace that and find those like-minded growers and be bringing that product to market with the same vigor as we are our own that we're growing in Florida. And from a customer service perspective, creating that continuity for them. They're relying on you more and more out of the year to solve those problems for them. Like I said, I think we're a little bit later to the party. This is our fourth year doing it, and it's grown every year. So I'm very happy that that's the route we all embraced. And I mean, you talk about generational change and things like that. It's one of those things that my dad, my uncle really, it was different than something they had done, but they happily embraced it and said, go forth, prosper. You have our full support. And so again, I think that was, we couldn't have done it without that.
No, I agree. And that's one thing too, that when you talk about handing over to the next generation, it's about the older generation actually doing it too, right? And allowing new things to happen. Quentin, might have known about the imports, the exports. I've heard that from a lot of like families as they keep growing too. They'll say things like, yeah, well, I used to import, or that we don't do that anymore. Or, we used to go to Canada, but we don't go to Canada anymore. 'Cause, they had problems, right? That, like, listen, you heard that was that juicy crunch. Like it just came like popped in my mouth like a second later. Like that's what you get for eating oranges while you're podcasting too. But yeah, it's an interesting fact when you see the generational shift and you start to see the next generation coming up. Sometimes the old guard will say no to things, right, Adam? Like they would say like, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to spend that money. We're not going to invest in that, right? And knowing your dad and knowing what you do, Q, as well, is you're like, listen, let's if it's making money, right, and it's in the right direction and vision of the company, it's like let's say yes to a couple of these things, right? Like, but that is a very key. And I even learned that from William Kopke as well. He was like, because someone told me, oh man, this guy did it all himself. This guy did it all himself. And, William looked at him and goes, no, I didn't. He's like, my dad allowed me to do a lot of this business. So he's like, if my dad didn't have those relationships or these things that allowed me to get to the next step, it would never have happened. Right.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. I mean, they very much taken the approach of, not what they've done in the past, but show us how it would work.
Yeah.
And, we'll support it. And, like I said, that's been great. There's not been a closed-mindedness to it as we embrace the future and move forward.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Q?
I'm really excited about it. This whole concept of we're going to service our customers 12 months out of the year, or as close to 12 months as we can. I go back to when I started in the industry, and we had a Florida citrus industry that then pre-greening, we could actually pack for 9 or 10 months out of the year. So we got in our months, but with greening, that got curtailed back to 4 or 5, maybe 6 months. And all of a sudden, not having something to do the rest of the year was ridiculously killer.
Not an option anymore.
No. So I'm very proud that Adam's found us some other options and both keeps our people together and finds like-minded growers and allows us to keep servicing customers. That's
I agree.
It's all key.
I agree.
Yeah, and we get, one of the other things we get a lot of inquiry about from these growers is, hey, tell us about this Juicy Crunch, right? It's what they all want to know about. They want to hear more about it. They want to know when can they plant some. So
it's the truth, man. I mean, that's one thing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that brand going global as well, and what your guys' plans are for that. But it all leads into the generations, right? About, where the vision is, where you see the company in the next, 15, 20 years. Your dad might not be involved in the company in 20 years, but he still wants to know where it's going and where it's going to be, regardless if he's working for it or not, right? It's something that that's how the legacy lives on, right? So that's how we pass it on to the next generation by all working together. So let's take a quick break, and we will be right back, because when we come back, we're going to talk about all things Juicy Crunch and Noble going global and some of the landscapes that they are going to be in really soon.
In the heart of agribusiness, where innovation meets tradition, stands ZAG Technical Services. From managed IT to cybersecurity, cloud computing to consulting, network infrastructure to data and analytics, we've got you covered, because we're not just service providers, but partners in your success. And our dedicated experts are here to help you leverage technology as your competitive advantage.
All right, everyone, we are back, and it's always great to hear about cybersecurity. Again, I always talk about cybersecurity now because in the farming industry, we cannot afford for the farm to go down. Right? We can't afford for your food supply chain to be disrupted. We've all seen that happen, almost 5 years ago. So again, cybersecurity checklist from ZAG. Please get it, check it out, download it. It's on their website, and it can help you not get your website or any of your products or platforms hacked. So as we're getting back to it, though, we have the Roe family in the studio today. Generations of citrus right here in Tampa, Florida, from Winter Haven, but we're here in Tampa. Let's bring back Q and Adam. Well, if I can get you back. That's harder than you think, you guys. Like, you should see how like my hand. I mean, you do. Like, I'm trying to get I'm like a video director, audio engineer, all of the above. You guys.
Exactly.
Thanks for touching my elbow. You guys don't understand. This is like, right. Like, this is why we love video and audio engineers.
It's because you have Juicy Crunch brain. You eat something that good.
When your brain,
and you're fried, dude.
When your brain gets
you're screwing everything up.
Your brain gets pickled on a juice.
Dude, yeah.
On a Juicy Crunch.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So
I had another one. Fine. Speaking of Juicy Crunch.
So
good segue.
When we about five years ago, when we realized that this thing was going to be amazing, we had to move quickly to hit deadlines on getting the plant material into other parts of the world. And we used a company that was BioGold then, and it's now merged, and it's Sunworld now. But the cool thing is they were able to get us registered in all these countries around the world and get the budwood set up. And get trees started. Well, this year is the first year. We actually saw fruit in Spain last year, but it's the first year that we've seen fruit in California. This year we'll see fruit in South Africa. We saw more fruit in Spain this year. It's working. It's working in all those growing locations. And we are so excited right now because this is going to allow us to expand our Juicy Crunch grower base all around the world. And with the success of Juicy Crunch in the marketplace is just nothing but a good deal for all growers.
I agree. I mean, listen, I think that, if you look at in today's world and Adam, you can chime in on this, when you look at like niche products, we were just talking about this the other day, and I think it's great to talk about this with you, someone like you guys, is that, if you look at the sumo, because that's our industry, the sumo citrus, like, did they have something special? I can't say they had something special because people wanted that piece of fruit for a month, right? And it was a good tasting piece of fruit come March, April. And I think that obviously once the rights to that seed were gone, a lot of growers planted it. And I think that people don't understand that behind that is one, generational farming knowledge, right, guys?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's one thing that, it takes years to understand how to grow this crop, how to do this crop. And so I say that I think the special thing about that sumo was the growers that had it controlled in the beginning. It made the profile amazing, right? And I think that's the same with the Juicy Crunch, because I think if you guys have the right growers, right? And this is what I'm telling you, right? Why I agreed with you, right? It's like people are like, well, you're agreeing with them because they're your sponsor. No, you got to look at the fact of like agriculture. You got to look at the fact of like, is this going to be good for the consumer? Is this going to be good for our industry? This is a good option because as the Florida citrus industry is going down the hill, you have California that's constantly has import pressure all the time from other countries, right? Tariffs are a big thing going on right now as well. But if you look at this niche, right, which is Juicy Crunch, and you grow it in the right areas, and every area does the right thing with growing and does 60 days, right? And only keeps it out for a time period. Think about how it'll get the response if the flavor and the profiles is the same. And you're not trying to mass produce it into 6-8 months out of the year from one location. You're trying to keep it controlled in a location with the right farming practices. That's what I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, I think either one of us could answer how important it is. I mean,
is anybody sold on that? Did I sell anybody?
Yeah, I'm sold. Here you go. Keeping a flavor profile that's in keeping with the name and the brand. If we've got crops on any given year, like maybe a hurricane comes through and something's not up to snuff, we can't put it in that box and stand behind it, and we won't. So
I think that's really important. Two things. One, the beauty of us owning and controlling patent, trademarks, and everything on Juicy Crunch is we get to determine how much of this goes in the ground. Don't overplant it. Make it good for the grower forever. That is our mantra. This is where what we're planting, and this is what we want our growers to see and experience is a good return on their investment. The second point is this was a hurricane year for Florida. Another one. I'd rather not have any more, but it is what it is.
It's like DJ Khaled, another one.
Yeah. But this year, instead of us having high pack outs on Juicy Crunch, we were grading out 40-50% of the fruit to get down to a level that was still Juicy Crunch quality. And that is the commitment that we're making in the marketplace.
Yeah. And I tell growers along with that, they understand that we have to put that up to put up something people are really happy with and keep coming back for.
It's a hurricane year. You're protecting their investment as well as your own.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there's been back-to-back hurricanes too. We all know this. Like it's ever since I met you, Quentin, it's like we've recovered from another hurricane, then we got another one, right? It seems like that's the mantra, but That's what you're trying to do, right? That's what you're trying to do different, which is if you can expand the Juicy Crunch, which is a patented variety, a seed, really, you can get to different locations as long as it tastes the same. It's good. You've got a brand, a global brand,
Right.
And that's what you're working on right now. That's why the import program started, right? You're working on globally, working on a supply chain, right, Adam? You're trying to get, I say get, but understand, what shipping lines to use, who you're dealing with. Like, all of it comes with that, right? Like it's that. Then if you have fruit overseas, now like, okay, we have a global supply chain. How do we get our product from Egypt to Europe? How do we get our product from South Africa over to Europe, right? All these different things. So, it goes along with the growth, right? So you can see that, I say, Greg Q, global going noble, right?
I like that.
I hope Bruce likes that. I've been trying to keep saying it, but
it's not catching you.
I got to get Bruce to catch on to it a little bit more. Yeah. But I think I'm going to get him, Q. Global noble, right?
Global, yeah.
Grow with global noble. Okay. I'll say that 5 times fast. You can't. But let's see. I mean, you talked about where it's going, right? You talk about some of the countries you're going to see it in. You talk about the quality behind growing it, and so as we started to wrap this episode up, I'll go to Adam, you first. What would you tell the industry that's out there? A lot of our listeners, as crazy as it sounds, I love saying this though, are entry level, right? These are people wanting to learn about our industry, understand what's going on, because we provide an outlet that's very transparent, right? We're talking with the actual growers. What would you tell some of the industry right now, that are going, oh man, Adam, I don't know, man. You really think you should be going in the import game? You really should be thinking about those seeds? What are some key takeaways that we can tell our industry, hey, 4th generation, this is what we're doing, and this is something we can take away from it?
Yeah, I think that just seeing young people committing back into this industry, there's a lot of veterans out there. We work with a lot of industry veterans, but I think we're in a transition period. I mean, where there's going to be a lot of younger people, whether it's generationally within ag businesses on this side of it, or in the retail center. There's going to be some torches being passed, and just all being there and all working together to keep propelling this business forward. I don't know, that it feels like we're in kind of one of those time periods right now.
And Q, what about you, man? What can we tell the industry? Some key takeaways as we move forward, as you move forward, right? And in the next couple of years as well, and where you want to see the industry going?
I think 2 things. I'm really excited about the grower relationships that Adam is developing internationally. I think those high quality growers turn out to be ultimately our high quality growers for Juicy Crunch in the future. So that's exciting, and that I see that tie together, and I didn't see that going in. The second is I'm excited about Florida. Florida's been beat up, knocked down. We've had our heads dragging here a little bit, but golly, everything looks good right now, and we're going to get another shot at this.
I like it. Optimistic as always. Growers are always optimistic, and you know that. But I think that's great, you guys. And listen, as we start to close out the show, I want to give you a couple key takeaways as well. One thing that I always like to talk about is, right, innovation, changing the supply chain. Obviously, the Roe family has done this over the years, developing new varieties that obviously are becoming niche and that the consumers are taking a really liking to. So innovation within your crop, innovation within your packing house, innovation within your groves. And then, as I always talk about, digital innovation, how to get that word out to the mass millions, right, to understand how your brand lives on or your legacy. So, guys, I loved having you, and we're going to get you back on real quick. Here we go. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks for coming, Q.
Thank you,
Adam.
Patrick.
Thanks, man.
I think it's great.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no. Well, listen, Noble is going global, Q. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Adam, you like it, right?
Love it.
Listen, Noble is global. Global Noble. Everyone, we'll see you next time in the fields and on the horizon.